welcome to the show, and before we get to it, be sure to subscribe to us over on our Patreon, where you can take part in episode polls, see Cinema Snob episodes in advance, like sections of our upcoming supersized episode on 1983 in film. That's all over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification button as well. We've got a 25% off sale going on this weekend on our Cameo page at cameo.com/thecinemasnob, where you can book yourself a shout out, birthday message, ask a question, plenty of options. With Charlton Heston unable to have a Cameo page, I guess I'm the second best option.
This is quite a week for taking me back to my childhood. Am I much of a sports guy? No. Did I watch a hell of a lot of Bulls basketball back in the day? Hell yes, I did. I had the shoes. I had posters. Typically, they would involve basketball players and cartoon characters. I watched the Dream Team in 1992. I watched a lot of basketball when I was a kid. I collected cards, too. I collected basketball cards. I had pumps. I had those tongue pumps that assured me it would make me just as good at slam dunking as in Jordan versus Bird in the slam dunk competition. I've still got that game. It's also over at the studio with my Nintendo games. The pumps actually might have made me worse at basketball. It might have given me some confidence. Confidence isn't what I needed at basketball. I was always going to be bad. If anything, it just made me worse. I tried out for basketball. I was so into it back in the back in the late 80s, early 90s. I tried out. I wasn't very good. I did cross country for quite a few years. Basketball wasn't good at it. I was like, I'll go ahead and stick with NBA Jam. I'm very good at NBA Jam. NBA Jam I can do. I always beat my friends at that because they didn't know how to push people over in the game. And I did, and I wasn't going to tell them. It's the only way that I keep winning. So Air has to do with Nike's pursuit of securing Michael Jordan back in 1984. And the opening credits themselves set it up to where I am absolutely going to love this film. The credits are like a whole 3-minute history of the year 1984. From the election to toys to music to the economy. To movies. It even shows clips of Rhinestone. This movie works in clips of Rhinestone into the opening credits. So I'll say right off the bat, I love this film. It's totally a dialogue film, and the writing is fantastic. A lot of these actors, they bounce off each other really well. That they can be on screen for a very little amount of time, and you feel like you know that person. And it's really cool to see a lot of them there. Like Marlon Wayans is in this movie for one scene. He's fantastic in it. In this one scene, it's a great performance in just this one scene. And also, you really feel like you know this dude when you're watching it. And I'm so glad that Marlon Wayans is popping up in a lot better material with some really great performances, because I've been saying for the longest time he is a good actor. I would go see him in these bad comedies, A Haunted House 2, 50 Shades of Black, and all these films, and I'll be like, I've seen this guy act. I've seen Requiem for a Dream. I know this guy's got good performances in him. He is doing that a lot lately. So again, he's only in this for one scene. He's really, really, really damn good in it. And you feel a lot of the passion behind the direction here from Ben Affleck. You can tell how much he loves this story, the game, and Michael Jordan. It's got some like Ford v Ferrari vibes, Moneyball vibes, Jerry Maguire, a little bit of that in there. And you don't need to know much about the story or basketball to enjoy it. It keeps the story very simple, and they do a great job of setting up who these characters are, what the businesses were like at the time by incorporating a lot of title cards. It's a movie that's set in the 80s that feels like it's of that time. And yeah, there's a huge soundtrack, but whereas the Mario Brothers movie had songs in there for really no reason, it felt weird that they were there, like they were just added in at the last minute. But here, when stuff is on the soundtrack, it really elevates the scenes. No, the soundtrack really, really elevated the scenes. You got Dan Hartman in there. You got Dire Straits, Big Country. Cyndi Lauper, Bruce Springsteen. I was sitting there going like, not only do each of these work in all of these scenes, it's very well edited into the movie, but I was like, I would buy this soundtrack. I really want to buy this soundtrack. There's definitely very movie moments in it, like big swelling musical score over a speech that's happening, and there's a couple of parts that could go very wrong if done incorrectly. There's a scene where Matt Damon is talking to Michael Jordan, and he's kind of laying out everything that will happen to Michael Jordan, like not super specific because he's not psychic, but enough to where it ties into things that actually happened to him in his career. And in the editing, it's kind of showing a lot of that through news clips and newspapers and everything. It's a very movie moment thing to happen, but it's done really well here, and it actually does make for a pretty powerful moment because the dialogue is really good. The editing is very, very good. This movie is easily an A. I loved it. It's the best thing that's playing in theaters right now. So far, it's totally one of the best movies I've seen of the year so far. It might actually be the best movie I've seen of the year so far. And I was so hoping that this would be good. Thank God that it is. I was like, Ben Affleck as a director, he's a great director. He is so great at directing actors, and his movies, they always look good. There's great cinematography and editing, and he was on a really great streak there. But Live by Night didn't do very well. It didn't get great reviews. But I honestly liked Live by Night. I was one of the few that gave it a pretty positive review. It had problems. It was very episodic. It wasn't very focused. It was certainly a little random, but it was such a good-looking movie that I was definitely immersed in that world that it created, and it kept me entertained throughout it. It felt like it was a lot of vignettes, sure, but I was interested in all of them, where it's like, oh, now this kind of cult shows up. Okay. I was pretty entertained by Live by Night. I don't know. I thought it was underrated. I would say of the movies he's directed, Live by Night is the least out of all of them, but I don't know. I still enjoyed the movie. I reviewed that one with Irving. I think I liked it a little bit better than he did.